Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of BellyUpSports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
So if you guys didn't watch the Madrid derby between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, in case you didn't know what the Madrid derby was, fans threw objects at Real Madrid keeper Thibaut Courtois. Essentially, there was an organized, some sort of organized event for some Atletico Madrid fans that decided to, come into the stadium wearing masks to hide themselves from security in order for them to not be recognized when they decided to heckle Real Madrid. Once again, heckling is one thing; it's just always going to be part of the game. But I think obviously this is all coming from the frustration towards Vinicius. Obviously Vinicius has been a big proponent of racism, of anti-discrimination and racism in Spanish football, has criticized Spanish football for many years, especially because he's been on the receiving end of many racial heckles, I guess you can, if you want to go there. And I think the objective of these fans was to wear masks so they can say what they want and not worry about getting banned. Which, obviously, if you're saying those things and security comes against you, they could just easily take off the mask. It's not a foolproof system, but unless they're like gonna call for them and immediately they're gonna take off the mask. But which in hindsight, you're wearing. Unless you're wearing a Atletico Madrid jersey, I guess you can get away with it. But if you're wearing something very well, like it's kind of like unique towards everybody else, you're still wearing those clothes. But anyways, but yeah, so that was the objective. The objective was to wear these masks and say what they wanted to say to Real Madrid without getting caught from security and be unrecognizable. But as a matter of fact, the match did end up being stopped because fans started proceeding to throw objects, some of them being lighters, at Thibaut Courtois. And so the match was stopped. I think 15 minutes was probably how long it was. It could have been longer, but it definitely was a good chunk of time to get Diego Simeone and some Atletico Madrid players went out to that supporters section, try to calm the fans down. And obviously, it wasn't really working that well. If anything, I think they got even more rattled. But eventually, they calmed down, and then the match proceeded. The match ended up drawing 1-1 after an Angel Correa goal, which I believe Atletico Madrid fans were booing when Correa scored. Actually, it was just a huge shit show. But anyways, this is what Diego Simeone. Which is kind of funny to think that Diego Simeone calming the fans down, because if you guys know anything about Diego Simeone as a player, he was very much an agitator. If you watch that David Beckham documentary, he actually takes pride on how he got David Beckham to get a red card. So literally, that's the guy that got David Beckham the red card. So it's just kind of ironic that he has to be the voice of reason for the Atletico Madrid fans, but. That's neither here nor there. But he had some things to say, and this was his statement. We all have to help. The people who threw those lighters also happened at the Bernabeu when Courtois was our player, and he received a lighter on his head and are not behaving well. But we, the protagonists, probably don't help either when we underestimate people. We burden people, we provoke people, and people get angry. People have no other way of doing it, in a bad way, which is not right. But we also have to see the place of the protagonist. Try to remain calm. Understand the situations. You can celebrate a goal, but you can't celebrate it by looking at the stands, pointing at them, and making faces at them, because then people get angry. It's not justified, but neither is what started out justified, because otherwise we're always the victim. We have to identify those who have been involved and make sure they don't come back. because we don't need this type of people. We need the people who encourage us, the people who are there, the people who support the team, because they are very important to us. I think in some sense, Diego Simeone has a point, but at the same time, I think your point is that players shouldn't look at the fans when scoring when celebrating a goal. You know, look, I do agree. Home field advantage is important. I think the fans have to make that stadium loud and make it uninviting, within reason, for the opposing team. But I just don't. Like. I love those moments when the players when they look at the crowd, and especially in those moments where you score the winner and the game's over, and all you can do is all the fans do is just sit there and accept that their team just lost, those kind of things. And obviously, some people are having allegations that Thibaut Courtois was agitating the fans, um and that could be a thing, but it goes back to for me when I look at and I'm going to use American football as an example, but like Cam Newton, people complained about whenever he scored a touchdown, he would dance, give a football to a child, all this stuff. Maybe not giving a football to a child, but they just didn't like the dancing, the antics. And Cam Newton, like he said it, he's like, if you guys don't want to see me dancing, stop me from scoring touchdowns. And I kind of that's where I kind of want to go to it, and I know that that's not necessarily on the fans or anything like that. It's on the players, that the team that's defending. But like, if you don't want to see Vinicius Jr. score, celebrate goals, then stop him from scoring. If you don't want to see your rival celebrate a goal, then stop them from scoring. Like, it's a bragging right. Especially when we're talking about a derby, if you will. Like, it's a bragging right. When you win that game, when you're a fan of a team that wins a derby, a rivalry game, you're on cloud nine. You walk with a certain swagger when your team wins that rivalry game, and you earn that right to brag. And because every week is going to be different. One week you win, the next week you lose. But this is I don't want to be the old person that says that this generation is just soft, because I don't think that's the case. But I do think, if you're mad at a person for celebrating a goal, what are we doing here? Why are you watching this sport if you don't want to see people celebrate? Like, why go to a game? Why go to a game that if you don't want to see someone celebrate? Why do you go to a game knowing that there's a possibility you're going to lose? Just like there's a possibility you're gonna win. Anything can happen in this sport. Like, if this angers you to see people have fun, I just don't think and I honestly, I'm talking about, or like I said, I'm never gonna tell someone how to be a fan, but if it affects your life like this to the point where you're angry, you're throwing lighters at people. I think you might need to pick something else up. Go out, touch grass, man. Look, do I get mad if my team loses? Yes. But at the end of the day, I gotta go to work. I gotta go pay bills. I gotta take care of my family. This game, and as much as I love this game, it is not ever going to be that extreme for me. And I think that's the point I want to come across with it. You're hiding yourself. You have to put a mask on to hide yourself because you don't want people to see who you really are. And I mean, probably these people outside the game are probably like some of the coolest people, the nicest people ever. But as soon as it's game time, you put this whole different facade. And I think that is troubling. That is scary. Because if you're able to say those kind of things with a mask on, those are things you think about. That's still you. I don't ever want to say that the players need to mind their P's and Q's when they're playing a game. You know how many of us want to be in that situation? Many of us want to be in that position to score a winning goal, a winning save. Like every one of you as a fan would love to have that moment. And it's so disgusting to see people act like that. Cuz let's be honest, it is just a game. It's just a game. Like it's a great escape. It's great to, you know, forget about what else is going on in the world and just be in that moment of the game. But if you're so hostile with this game, like this is not it for you. You need to go find a hobby. Like go find something find something that's beneficial. Something that help your mental health. Because if this is the extreme you're going to, like I'm not saying don't be a fan of football. Don't be a fan of I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying if it gets you to this extreme, like it's just not for you. I am never gonna be furious at a game. I'll be frustrated, I'll be disappointed, but I'll never be furious at a game. I will never speak ill of another player. And this is even before as a podcaster. Like if this is how you're going to be, like, dude, touch grass. Like go walk, go on a hike. Go live life, man. Like if this is how you're gonna be, is you brought lighters to throw them. Who does that? That's my problem. And I think Diego Simeone has some sort of point. He does have some points. But I just don't think that players should be told not to celebrate. Or like if they do celebrate, don't look at the fans. It's part of the atmosphere. It's part of it. Like I said, man, anybody that's in the stands right now, anybody watching the game, they would love to be in that position to score a winning goal, rally his team up, silence the fans of an opposing rival. That's a dream for them. It didn't happen, but I guarantee everybody would want to be able to have that moment. Like they dream of that moment. And those people that threw those lighters, they also want that moment. But yeah, that's the one thing I'll disagree with Diego Simeone. That's the one thing I'll disagree with. I think he said a lot of good points. He made a lot of good points, but I would never tell someone not to celebrate a goal. I would never. Especially when the moment's big. But to continue on, man, so there is going to be an there has been an investigation um and they're still trying to figure out how they're going to essentially punish Atletico Madrid. The reason to punish Atletico Madrid is because of obviously failing to control the fans. I believe Courtois is also under investigation to figure out if he did initiate anything with the fans. And so because obviously, so what was being said is that when the goal was scored, Thibaut Courtois, looked at the fans and, was just like, yeah. And obviously, if you guys want some context, Thibaut Courtois was at one point the goalkeeper for Atletico Madrid. I believe he was on loan from Chelsea. Was at Atletico Madrid for that year, for that season, and so maybe some fans don't like him because I guess they view him as a traitor, even though he was a loan player to Atletico Madrid. But anyways, so that's what's being investigated. They have found the fan. They have found one of the fans that was throwing lighters, and he's banned for life. He is never going to be allowed in that stadium. As the investigation continues, they are hoping to find more fans that were involved with the incident. Um, this is just one of those ugly things about this game, man. That just like kind of it is what it is kind of thing, but at the same time, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be is what it is. But yeah, and I'll say it. Yeah, I do think the Atletico Madrid fans were soft for that. Like, you don't want to see somebody celebrate. You better hope your team can just defend better. You don't want, like, to quote Cam Newton, if you don't want me to dance when I score touchdowns, stop me from scoring touchdowns.